it's Colleen Patrick-Goudreau from joyfulvegan.com. Welcome to Vegan Point of View. If we've heard it once, we've heard it 1,000 times. Eat your vegetables. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, eating more fruits and vegetables adds nutrients to diets, reduces the risk for heart disease, stroke, and some cancers, and helps manage body weight when consumed in place of more energy-dense foods, end quote. Life-saving, disease-preventing, and yet we are failing to meet the most basic minimal recommendations. According to a large national survey recently analyzed by the Center for Disease Control, only 13% of Americans said they ate the recommended amount of fruit each day, and only 9%, 8.9 to be exact, ate the recommended intake of vegetables. The government recommends that adults eat 1.5 to 2 cups of fruit and 2 to 3 cups of vegetables each day. That's not a lot. Now, most of us were raised on a meat-centered diet where vegetables played a minor role. They were side dishes. They either came from a can, they were boiled to death, or they were drowned in dairy-based cream sauces and butter. It's no wonder we didn't get hooked on vegetables. But I, in my work, am doing everything to reverse this by debunking myths, by providing sound, practical guidance for living healthfully and compassionately, and by creating and sharing simple recipes based on whole foods and familiar ingredients. But alas, with studies like this coming out, I fear I will be working until I just keel over, probably when I'm 100, because I eat my vegetables. Okay, one of the problems I've identified is that people think they don't have enough time to cook. Basically complaining that it takes too long to cook. It takes too long to chop vegetables. People whine. I really hear people go, I don't have time. I don't have time to chop some vegetables. Here's what I think. Here's my point of view. We've become so dependent on processed, packaged, frozen, and fast food that our barometer for how much time we should spend on preparing our meals has become completely skewed, right? Our idea of how long we should spend on cooking and eating has become completely distorted. Our threshold for chopping vegetables, for spending any time in the kitchen at all, is about 0. I think we need a new measuring stick. It's true that chopping vegetables requires a little extra time, but compared to what? Compared to throwing a package of processed food-like substances into the microwave? Sure, I will concede. Chopping vegetables, chopping whole fresh vegetables, requires more time than that. But is that really the measuring stick we want to use? The bottom line is if we don't have time to be sick, then we have to make time to be healthy. But if you want to know the truth, I think we do have the time. Although everyone complains about busy schedules, and I get it, we're all busy, if we're really honest with ourselves, we'd admit that we do have the time to cook. We just don't use the time we have to make the effort. If we have the time to pack the family into the car, drive to a restaurant, find a parking spot, stand in line to wait for a table, right? Decide what to order, wait for the food, eat the food, wait for the bill, pay the bill, and drive back home again, then we probably have time to chop some vegetables at home. We have to be honest with ourselves. The goal is to make healthful, delicious, plant-based meals in a reasonable amount of time, not spend countless hours in the kitchen. I get it. So with that in mind, let's look at a few ways we can make this a reality. Chop vegetables in advance. Most of us can identify with this, right? With this scenario. You go to the grocery store or the farmer's market, you get really excited about eating healthfully, you stock up on vegetables, you come home, you store the vegetables in the refrigerator, and when it comes time to eat or prepare dinner that night, you return to the refrigerator, you stare into its great abyss, and you declare, there's not a thing to eat. I don't have anything to eat. You lament that it would take too long to chop up the vegetables for dinner, so instead, you call the pizza guy, or you heat up a frozen dinner while waiting for those things to arrive, while said vegetables break down in the refrigerator, winding up eventually in the trash instead of your belly. Now picture this. You come home from the grocery store, and instead of shoving all the vegetables into the refrigerator, you take 15 minutes to chop them. At least some of them. You store the chopped vegetables in bags and containers, and then you place them in the refrigerator. Hours later, you return and you open the refrigerator and you look at the chopped peppers and sliced onion and minced garlic, and you're inspired to make a stir fry. The shredded lettuce and sliced fennel make a quick salad. The sliced carrots serve as a snack while you put it all together. And the cooking process itself is enjoyable and stress-free. Imagine that. Just imagine that. You can make that happen. For some reason, if the tops are still on the carrots, or the broccoli is still joined at the stem, or the cauliflower is still in its head, we have this mental block and we complain that it's going to take us forever to chop these up. And so we leave them to compost in the refrigerator. And then we wonder why we're always throwing vegetables away. If we chop them, we will eat them, say I. We know this works with kids, and it works with adults as well. Once the vegetables are stored, it begs the question, how long will they keep in the fridge before they start to lose their freshness, before they start to break down? The answer is about 5 days or so, right? But here's a really awesome trademark secret. Really get ready to write this down because it's kind of life-changing advice. Ready? The way to keep fruits and vegetables from going bad is to eat them. The idea is to get them into your belly, not see how long they will keep before they start to break down, right? Seriously, I I remember this really lovely gentleman in one of my cooking classes many years ago. He attested to finding the secret to keeping vegetables fresh. And he said, I had some peppers, I figured out how to store them in my refrigerator and keep them fresh, and I've had them in my fridge for like 2 weeks. And I said, what are you doing keeping peppers in your refrigerator for 2 weeks? Like, you should be eating the peppers. That's the whole point of the peppers. We need to stop treating our refrigerators like compost bins, or like storage facilities. So here's another way this plays out. When you're preparing dinner tonight and your recipe calls for a chopped onion, chop 2 onions. Use one for your recipe and store one in a container. You already have the cutting board out, you already have the knife out, right? Everything's already kind of messy, and it will take less than 2 minutes, a minute, to chop up the second one and then put it in the fridge, and you'll have it for later. Also, because they figured out that people are anti-chop, many grocery stores have decided to capitalize on this and make money from you. And so they sell cut up vegetables. So that is an option. If that helps you eat more vegetables, then do it. Of course, they're going to cost a little bit more, but we always have to decide whether we want to spend our time or our money. You can decide on any given day which you want to invest in. And to those folks, especially those not eating a lot of vegetables, who will now assert that vegetables will lose their nutrients once they're cut up and stored, it's an unfounded concern. You may be sacrificing a little bit of flavor and freshness, but you are not sacrificing nutrition. Here is a tip for you to keep things in perspective. Vegetables chopped in advance are more nutritious than no vegetables at all. Okay. Number 2, don't wait until dinner time to decide what to have for dinner. Because I argue that our blocks to eating healthfully and compassionately are all in our minds. I am absolutely convinced that the secret to eating well and consuming more vegetables has more to do with planning in advance than anything else. Giving our meals just a little forethought can make all the difference. And that doesn't even require any time. It doesn't require anything more than thinking. You don't have to do anything, right? Most people decide what they're going to eat once they're already hungry. And at that stage, we do not make the most healthful decisions. We just do not make decisions based on nutrition. We make decisions based on speed or cravings. In my It might be another story if we follow my first piece of advice and we have chopped up vegetables in the refrigerator. But that only strengthens my point. Plan in advance. If you're planning in advance, you've already got those vegetables in the fridge. Though we can be a little more flexible, I think, with breakfast, since I think breakfast tends to be the simplest meal of the day. When it comes to dinner in particular, we should know, in my opinion, the night before what we're going to have for dinner the following night, right? You can stretch it to the next morning at the very latest, but we should know, we should absolutely know what we're eating for dinner long before dinner time arrives. Here's how it would play out. You'd lie in bed at night, right? Before, you're lying in bed, going to sleep, and you start thinking about what you have in the refrigerator, and you decide, I'm going to wake up 10 minutes earlier than usual, and I'm going to take some time to chop up a few vegetables, a bunch of carrots, 2 potatoes, and an onion for a soup, or I'm going to chop up some bell peppers for a chili, or lettuce and cauliflower and celery for a salad, right? You just kind of think, okay, I'll just wake up 10 minutes earlier to do this. If you decide you want a grain dish tomorrow night, then throw some rice or quinoa or barley into a saucepan tonight, along with water and a vegetable cube, a bouillon cube. You can do this while you're watching television. You can turn the heat on, set the timer, and before you know it, half of tomorrow night's dinner is already prepared. Another thing you can do is before you leave for work in the morning, you can soak your favorite vegetables or tofu in a marinade, and then you can leave them all day to marinate, and then you can, grill them when you come home or roast them when you come home. You can also throw all these vegetables and some veggie broth in a crock pot. When you're getting ready in the morning, you can throw some lentils and spices and chopped onion and garlic into a slow cooker and turn the heat to low, and then when you come home, from work or from your day out, you have a meal to eat. Number 3, create a meal schedule. I believe that humans are fierce creatures of habit, which can work in our favor or against us. Habit connects us with what's familiar, makes us feel comfortable and safe. We appreciate the predictable. We crave routine. I get that. Our food rituals and traditions bear this out, as do our meal routines. But a meal schedule doesn't have to be rigid, and it may not work for everyone, but I think having a general guide might be helpful for the week. Maybe Monday nights is pizza, Tuesday nights chili, Wednesday nights salad. You get the idea. 4, cook more than you need. I've often heard single people lament that most recipes tend to be created for 2 or 4 people, and that they're forever searching for recipes for 1. This is the wrong approach. I really encourage people to cook for 2 if they're 1 person, or cook for 4 if they're just a couple. The idea is to always make more than you need, so you have leftovers to eat the next day or to freeze for the coming week. And then you're not spending every day chopping vegetables. That's my point. You're not even spending every day because you've got leftovers. Taking 15 or 30 minutes a day in the kitchen is a reasonable amount of time to spend making food for ourselves and our families. And it's not only possible, it's imperative. Taking 15 minutes a day, and as I said, it doesn't even have to be every day, to nurture ourselves and nourish our bodies and feed our families is really no time at all. In fact, whatever we're doing that we think is so much more important than taking care of ourselves and preventing disease and taking care of our loved ones will mean nothing when we're not well enough or when we're not here to enjoy it. If we think we can't find a few minutes a day to take care of ourselves and those who depend on us, then perhaps we need to re-examine our priorities. By implementing these few tricks, I predict that the next national survey about vegetable consumption will indicate that it's on the rise, that vegetable and fruit consumption is on the rise like never before. Experts won't even understand what's causing it all. It'll be amazing. Don't make a liar out of me. Eat your vegetables. So that's all I got for now. If you like what you heard, you can check out my work at joyfulvegan.com. You can check out my book, The 30-Day Vegan Challenge. It has a lot of tips like these. I know that it will help you. It's helped many, many others. And if you appreciate what you've heard, please pass it on. This information is so simple and yet so important to get into people's ears, and eyes. And so please share it. Please give this video a thumbs up. Share your comments below. I'd love to hear your tips as well. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Please support the production of these videos. You can become a supporter by clicking on the support button, and you can check out, of course, other vegan point of view episodes, as well as my podcast, Food for Thought, all of my books, anything you need. This is what I have dedicated my life to at joyfulvegan.com. Thanks everybody. For the animals, both human and non-human, this is Colleen Patrick-Goudreau. Thanks for watching.